Wong. I graduated from Melbourne Uni in Australia, and I specialized in accounting and finance. I got my chartered practicing accounting in year 2002. In InTune, I run the business development segment. I'm also a certified partner accounting running with my wife. My wife is actually the other partner that runs the firm.
My name is Lily Yong. I'm graduated with a corporate finance degree from University of Adelaide, Australia. My first job is with Ernst & Young, an accounting firm, for 5 years. Then I moved on to manage an internal audit department for an Australian listed company. I'm a member of Certified Practicing Accountant Australia and also a member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants. So in InTune, I am the managing partner. I take care of the sales, business development, and also overseeing the operations at InTune. So I've been a practicing accountant for the last 20 over years.
The company was started long time ago when I was still with KPMG. So during that time, I got a lot of friends who are having complication and stress when they run business. And most of their challenge is they cannot hire an accountant. So as a result, they always only hire maybe a clerk or an exec. A lot of time they have a lot of issues with their finance, payment, sometimes the money get lost, sometimes the accounts don't close in time, payment is not done in time. So that time when they wanted to hire me, then I was thinking, how are they going to pay me? Like if they were to hire me and I charge them 10,000 for SME, how can they afford me? So I went back and I think, and then one day I got this idea. This idea just popped up. If 5 of them combine, each one maybe pay me 3,000 a month, then I can serve 5 of them at one shot. I become like a HQ accountant to 5 of them. Then I can assemble a team to actually support them, and that's how InTune was formed. In terms of the company, our team structure is divided into sales and operation. So the sales is very simple. We serve our client by understanding their need, and then we provide them the solution. In terms of the operation, is divided into 2 segments currently. We have the finance, which take care of the day-to-day accounting for our client, from payment to preparing the financial statement. Another team that we have is doing the HR and payroll service to ensure that the day-to-day of the salary and remuneration, including compliance, are taken care of. As an accountant, as a service provider, we need to be able to sync along, tune into the processes of our client and customize. For example, maybe a manufacturing client would be very different from a trading client. So InTune means as a provider, we are tuning into their needs and requirements.
The vision of InTune is to be the leading finance and human resource outsourcing provider in Malaysia. In this vision, we want to create financially driven entrepreneurs and businesses who runs their business based on numbers, analytics in driving their business to their goals. The mission of InTune is to support every small medium enterprises becoming large by being their strong finance and HR pillars for their businesses. This means that we are providing them a team of knowledgeable professionals with strong processes and workflow to support them in their growth journey becoming large. There are 3 main types of services being provided at InTune. Number 1 is the finance, number 2 is the human resource, and number 3 is the consultancy. So in terms of finance, so what we do is that we do the everyday accounting and finance functions for our small medium enterprises clients, like preparing payments, even issuing invoice, official receipts, reconciling their sales collection on an everyday basis, up to giving them a financial dashboards and accounts every month, up to on a half-yearly basis to sit with them and review their financial dashboards, and at the end of the year to take care of their audit and taxes on their behalf. That's on the finance side. So the second type of service that we provide for our client is human resource related, which means we take care of their payroll. We make sure that the payrolls are calculated correctly, accurately, on time, and in compliance with all labor laws, EPF, SOCSO, etc. And then taking care of the leave for their staff, and making sure that at year end, all the forms, all the compliance matters with Income Tax Office is complied with. So in terms of HR, we also assist our clients to issue HR related letters, like when a new staff come on board, to give them the employment letter, when they confirm, and if there's any increase in salary, bonus, we help them out with all those papers.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As usual, this is InTune Freedom Series. What does Freedom Series mean? I think InTune is here to look out to provide a sense of freedom for SME business owners. So this series is designed for business owner, where we shared about how we can support SME business owner to be free and to focus on what is important to them, as in running their business or running their operation. So tonight I'm going to have a session together with my operation manager. She is heading our HR division currently, and she helps in terms of setting up the HR processes as well as payroll processes for all our clients when they choose to engage us. So without further ado, let me bring in Miss Jocelyn. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hello, Alex.
Yeah, so please introduce yourself and let them know what big important roles you are playing in Intune for our clients.
Okay, my name is Jocelyn Ding. I'm the Senior Operations Manager and I oversee the finance and HR department's operations. I ensure that all the agreed workflow between client and the operations team is always followed properly. Yeah.
That's the big one, getting up all the processes up so that they are being followed properly.
Yes.
So we talk about supporting SME business owner, providing them that sense of freedom. So in terms of HR resources, based on your experience, what are some of the common pains that you and I see in terms of, or when they share or when they come to us?
Okay, I think the main ones that I always come across is when clients lack knowledge on how statutory deductions work. It's usually not aligned to the laws and the regulations. The other issues are how to counsel staff on behavior or attitude issues. Uh, Sometimes some companies they lack formal policies or even proper offer letters. They have too many versions, uh, and sometimes they have admin staff that's doing accounts and HR work without proper knowledge. So become like tembak here, tembak there lah.
I think that's always the challenge. Is like I always tell the team, sometimes we are asking a bird to learn how to dive like a fish, where they are
Yeah,
not born to be in the water. And I think that in general, I think there's also the dilemma a lot of SME has. They will hire one person that will do accounts, HR, payroll, receptionist, tea lady, and admin all in one.
bao
And
ka
I
liao.
think that is where it goes haywire, and at the end of the time when they come and see us, the account is not closed, the payroll is not accurate, the tax is, all the compliance issue. And then
Mm,
worst case, when they say I just want to terminate this staff, and sometimes the staff like, okay, how does that work, and they don't even know the termination procedure.
correct. And then, when you simply terminate someone also, then you get into trouble with the labor office. They send
Yeah.
you a letter, ask you to explain.
Yeah, it's a nightmare actually, and a lot of directors also freaked out when they are called to the labor's office or attending employment, labor court, and to actually defend and justify in accordance to the Employment Act. I think the challenge
Yeah,
is a lot of employers also, with the lack of understanding, if I could use that word, is they sometimes take Employment Act in their own hand based on the version that they know versus the Employment Act that is running in the market. Yeah.
agree. Actually, the Employment Act is a lot of reading, a lot of understanding, and also what are the changes that are coming, how to apply it to your organization. Also have to consider what are the areas you need to add or update, like in your offer letters, employee handbook, or any memos that you need to send out.
Yeah.
Just like example, the new Employment Act change effective 1st January next year, maternity leave will be 98 days. So if staff that is currently on maternity leave in December, does it mean that she will get additional days come 1st January? Actually, no lah, because whatever that is started this year is this year, next year is next year. So another example is paternity leave. When does the staff get the paternity leave? After confirmation or after 1 year service? Or up to how many legal children? Must he be married? Actually, the answer is yes, must be married. And then now the new law also will cover foreign male workers. They will also be eligible for paternity leave.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I think these are some of the things that it's very challenging to expect business owner to keep up with it. I think for them just to keep up with their business alone is already daunting, and to get them to even go into Employment Act, and I think it's going to be a nightmare. Even I myself, I find it overwhelming with all the changes, and then suddenly, okay, this one will be deferred, or oh, this one is tabled, but yet not yet being launched. So getting the even the timeline in terms of managing some of this compliance work itself is already a huge challenge.
Yes, because so many areas to cover.
Yeah. Then to add
Yeah.
on top of that, they need to hire staff. I know nowadays is a nightmare. Most of the SME business owner that I speak to are vomiting blood trying to look for staff. Their staff are being pinched. They are trying to pinch staff. They are putting things on Job Street. They are putting things on LinkedIn, and the turnover is just incredible. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's strange also when people say that uh, not easy to find a job, or there is like too many jobs out there or no jobs out there. It is, I think, finding the right match to the candidate to the position.
Yeah, and to make it harder is sometimes they have a whole bunch of candidates. They don't know how to actually pre-filter them, and they are so busy trying to do their recovery from COVID and with all the opening up of the business. So I actually sometimes my heart goes out to them, watching them struggle. Trying to shortlist, trying to do pre-assessment, and trying to interview, and don't talk about onboarding them. So the orientation alone plus that, I think they don't need to do their business already. It's already a
I think
full
before
time
that
job.
also you need to do the employment check and all that. The referral checking. That
Yeah,
part is important.
yeah. A lot of people, like even I myself, there are times that when the employees tell me that they are earning X amount, when I actually ask them to submit evidence of their benefits and incentive, sometimes the figures are very shocking. So so it's always good to have that pre-assessment done properly in terms of hiring. And yeah, these are some of the big pain as well. So next one, how about staff management?
Staff management in terms of managing attendance. I think a lot of employers do not wish to micromanage, but if they don't have a proper system in place to manage attendance, leave, or performance, the whole situation becomes unmanageable. Example, when it's time to process payroll, and then they don't know which days a staff has been on leave or sick or simply did not turn up for work. And then, so how do you even start to calculate? Or sometimes they don't even have a cut-off date. So the payroll report keeps on changing.
Yeah, and some of them still run on manual basis. So with all the doctors kind of writing, the hours, and then sometimes they will have meal allowance, attendance allowance with all the symbols and all the signature, and it made it worse if the staff are working in certain site where the paper by the time 15 day become like ham choi already, like it's a crumpled
Yeah.
piece of paper, illegible writing, or when is they are sweating and the ink is blotching away. So yeah, some of these are making the just even a simple payroll calculation such a daunting task to perform.
Correct.
Yeah. So these
So
are some
when
of
it's
the
all
Panadols.
automated, yeah, when it's
Yeah.
all automated, it's so much easier.
Yeah. So also, when vaccination happen, a lot of like I said, staff termination. Sometimes they don't, uh, employers don't really know how to handle. Like they have no clue that they are required to provide performance improvement plan, counseling, and warning. Versus, okay, I think this person is not performing. Let's just ask this person to leave. And I think this is probably the biggest challenge a lot of SME has when they are frustrated. They don't know how to deal with this frustration, and they
Mm-hmm.
react out of whatever that is going on. And as a result, they are being hauled to labor office, and unnecessary time loss and compensation.
Yep. And then a lot of times, if staff is on probation, employers tend to think that they are on probation, so I can just terminate just like that. That is not the right way. There is also certain procedure to go through while on probation.
Yeah, and I think this is where guidance is required to help or to support our SME. And when the staff sometimes resign to have an exit interview, most business owners have no clue what is an exit interview, and it's also very hard for the staff sometimes to be able to pour their heart and to share their heart out to the bosses without having a HR department or someone who is neutral, that is not
Yeah.
caught up in the whole business per se.
Actually, the exit interviews are also a means of feedback to improve. You know what was not working in this employee's career in the company, then you use the feedback to improve.
Yeah, and to close the gap. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes employers don't focus on the gap. They just want to get the job done, and out of desperation, they may hire. And I think
yeah,
that's where sometimes shit hit the fans lah.
yeah,
And to bring to the next one is actually developing staff. I think during the COVID, this was a big topic in terms of developing the staff, and I noticed a lot of business owners don't they know it is important. They just don't really have a clue how to approach it, where to look, and how to even things like TNA is like a big alien word to them. It's like a big jargon to them.
yeah. For me, not every employee enters an organization with perfect skills or knowledge. So it's good to identify what training is needed, and then HR is to ensure that the relevant training is provided to that staff. Sometimes, based on the staff's CV, you really cannot identify what other training needs that the person may need.
And I think some business owners also get carried away with just a title. Like if the person is an AM, they should have this kind of skill set. Versus the title is the title, the salary is the salary, the technical competency and the soft skill competency could jolly well be all different. So I
Yeah,
think this is a major perception that a lot of SMEs struggle when they are into developing staff. Is out of sometimes expectation rather than out of actual requirement. And a lot of companies out there, they talk about growing talents. It's just that they don't know how to build the staircase for the talents to grow. They
correct.
Yeah, it's just haphazard, and they do it on a feel to feel basis. Like I feel we need this, then they hop on and they jump on and they spend some money and do something. So I think that is also the struggle of SME, and I think deep inside they want to do a good job. I think that's where a proper HR would be able to bridge that gap between the
Yes,
employee, and the talent development. It's such a big word nowadays,
yeah.
which leads to
And
the next.
one of the ways to identify is through performance appraisals also.
Mm-hmm.
When that is in place, when that is done, then you can also identify certain areas that need improvement, that needs training, stuff like that. Now.
Mm. And the last one is driving business without a dashboard. We always say this in terms of finance. Like imagine driving a car without a dashboard. So Yeah, sometimes I think that's where businesses also get into trouble. They don't actually know their headcount, they don't know their payroll costs, and then suddenly add EIS, add EPF, add this, add that, add allowance, add OT. Then like they are running and running and running the business. They realize that, oh my God, my overhead is so high.
Yeah, usually the highest overheads are the salaries. And then when the accounts, the monthly financials are sent to the client, and then that's when they realize, wow, the overheads could be 30% of sales or more.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it also really depends on the industry. Certain industry is important to have a proper dashboard so that they know project by project how where are the overhead being allocated, whether it's a direct wages as compared to a overhead application, and how to share between various department when you have a support services versus a direct kind of thing. Like for example, construction, maybe the worker needs to be direct cost. If the
Mm-hmm.
supervisor is running a few project, how that is being spread across, and of course with
Yeah.
the HQ team. So when they do the project accounting, sometimes if they don't put this in, they thought they are making money. By the time they move to bottom line, they could be making a loss.
Yep.
Anything else you can share in terms of the SME pain from what you have been experiencing or hearing?
Mm, I think one of the main issues will be when they are processing payroll using Excel only. There's no system. Uh, Manually tracking staff on leave using Excel also. I think it's not the proper way to do it. Uh, Really, when you cannot track on Excel anymore, and all the Excel becomes corrupted, that's when shit lah, you know.
You know, the funny thing is a lot of people think Excel is a system.
Yeah, but it's
That's the
not.
funny thing, yeah. But I think they don't realize that Excel is a system to the person who created it. So the way I create the
Correct.
Excel system may not be duplicable to another person. Hence, I think the myth of having a system is actually a system that is generic, that other people can take over, or it can be coachable or trainable and transferable. Whereas with Excel, the once the creator didn't download or failed to download completely, there's no third person to refer to. There's no software provider to refer to. There's no trainer to provide. It's only that person and that person alone. And
Yeah.
hence, while it is a system, it is a very dangerous system to use on. I remember my years when I used to work in the corporate world. I have to practically disable all Excel system in order for the staff to start to migrate into the the accounting and the HR systems. That's
Mm,
very scary, actually.
yeah. So other than a payroll system or e-leave system, there should be also proper workflow lah, you know, because workflow will also determine a cut-off date. If there's no cut-off date, then uh, when does payroll actually get finalized? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think these are something that is usually, if you talk about SME owner, is as and when they have cash flow. Lor.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what contributed to some of these challenges and stuff. I think we talked a bit about it already, like some of the things like manual, which we talked about. And I remember one time even InTune, we ourselves fall into this nightmare. I remember very well those days where it was a long Raya break. I think you haven't joined us that time, and
Mm.
there was a break in, so they took all the computers, including our servers, and even the backup pen drive were taken away by the during the break in. So when we all went back to the office, we have nothing,
Can
and it was,
imagine all the database gone.
yeah. So it was so scary, so scary. And that time we don't have all this cloud system and all these things. And just now we talk about the Excel too. So this is, I think, this is one of the major problem with a lot of SME in terms of managing staff and employees satisfaction as well. It creates a lot of pain, and the Panadol is not one Panadol. The fella have to take a dozen of Panadol in a day.
Yeah.
How about this one? Based on your experience.
Mm, yeah, most business owners, they only look at numbers. They don't really focus on the people in the company. So therefore, they may not also understand the staff's pain in maybe processing payroll manually. Because if you just use Excel, can you imagine the pay slip is also generated by Excel? Uh, the payroll reports or even the statutory forms also you have to fill up. I'm not sure how. I've never done that before. Can't imagine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think once we surpass the manual, then going back there, it's going to be very very hard. It's just like trying to take a pen to write a letter nowadays versus typing a letter. So
correct.
yeah, it's a very different skill
I
set.
think I think faster while typing than handwriting.
Yeah, so people has surpassed that side line, and I think like it's very true what you say. A lot of employers they are really businessmen, or most of them are either salesmen or operation men. They don't really they don't really know how to handle finance or HR. It's just they know it's part of the package. Most of the time, I think out of 100 people that I ask, maybe only one or two will say, "Okay, I don't mind." A lot of say, I don't want HR. I don't want to know finance. I just want to focus on the business. I just want to build the business. The rest, they actually want to pass to somebody. It's actually
Yeah,
most of them, they want to pass to somebody. The challenge is sometimes because of budget constraint, they pass to one buddy. And that one buddy
yeah.
try to do everything. And I think that's where the
Either is
struggle.
one accounts person handling HR as well, or HR and admin, or an admin person handling the accounts and the HR.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
it
think
then
that is where
creates a
the
mess.
yeah, that's where the challenge is. A lot of the accounting graduate actually don't have HR experience.
Mm,
In university, they are two separate fields. HR is one
correct.
field, it's like a bird. Accounting is a separate field, like a fish. So when we are trying to merge the two, we are actually looking for a fish that can fly. And there's no way a flying fish can fly as high as a small bird, as there's no way a flying fish can dive as deep as a fish. I think that is where in Chinese we call 两头唔到岸. It's like neither here nor there in English. And I think
Yep.
when you have half of half, you actually get 25% in terms of productivity. And I think that's where this is one of the biggest issue in terms of SME managing HR and payroll itself.
Mm.
Yeah, we spoke about this as well. Ever changing law. It's even for me reading it every day is like oh my god, it's like a flipping a roti chana. Today is A, tomorrow is B. This can be
I think
deferred.
even the simple thing as like the EPF that was on the employees portion that was 9%, and it was
Mm,
changed back to 11% as at July. If there was no one who really tracked, people tend to forget and just continue with the 9%. Yeah,
mm,
I've come across a few cases already.
yeah. And at the end is where we're going to talk about offering some of our possible client some health check. Like we go for medical checkup once a while. I think
Mm.
it is a good time for SME business owner to also go for a HR and finance health check.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the next one is actually this is actually a big one. I think a lot of the client that sometimes look for consultation actually fall inside here. And in managing staff, the biggest pain, I remember my time, we always talk about generation gap. I'm a Gen X, so my gap is actually with baby boomers because baby boomers think differently, function differently, work differently. And I noticed as I
I
move,
thought the gap will be with the millennials.
Yeah, so now currently, as the Gen X become business owner, they now have this generation gap with the millennial, the Gen Y and the millennial. So yeah, the Gen X generally are called worker bees. They are very productivity focused, very result oriented in terms of production. They work very hard. They don't mind the long hours. They are very loyal, and they don't hop from job to job. And then you have the millennial, which is
Totally
they
opposite.
they were born in the golden era of peace and tranquility, and where they can have everything that they want. They don't have to work like the Gen X. Things are easier and they get to choose. For them, it's more about lifestyle. It's about something that will be matching to their value system or belief system. So,
Correct.
and they like to try things. So to them, moving from job to job, it's not called job hopping. It's just called having new experiences.
And there's
And
no delayed gratification as well. It's all
correct.
immediate.
So not
Yeah.
that there's anything wrong with the millennial. It's just that they are being brought up in a different era where the work culture is very different from the Gen X. And I think this is one of the biggest thing that is happening in terms of staff management, and that's where the pain is. Yeah, so it's important then for Gen X to come down to the millennial. It's gonna be impossible to ask the millennial to go up to. They may, but they can never think like how the Gen X think. And I think that's where the struggle is, the big struggle in closing the gap. And a lot of the millennial are not trained to be thrown into the deep blue sea to swim. They generally have a guidebook, if I could use it, that they could
Mm-hmm.
follow. So in the absence of processes, who do what by when, and a strong leadership and management, I think a lot of the millennial also struggle with problem solving and handling grit. And I think that's where
The critical thinking skills.
yeah, their critical thinking is very different from the Gen X. I think that's where the gap is. Again, it's not that there's anything wrong with the millennial, and I think this is where the the bridge needs to be built via a HR system where I always tell people HR exists because of human as a resources. Like money, human also need to be managed. Like
Yep.
money, it is different thing to different people at different time. And I think now is for the Gen X to remember their pain with their bosses in the past, and now is to come down that okay, now I'm in this dilemma as well, and how do I reach out and come down and connect. So generally, those Gen Y business owner and millennial business owner, they can integrate better with the millennial, whereas I think the struggle is very obvious with the baby boomers and the Gen X. I think for the Gen X are the new business owners lah. Yeah, in the 40s, like myself. So it's always a self reminder that this generation gap needs to be mindful in terms of managing them. Anything
Yep.
else you have to add in terms of some of the challenges in staff management?
Mm, I think for Gen X, in terms of education, um, I think it was maybe not so easy to even get a degree or what. But nowadays, for millennials, getting a degree is like so easy. So uh, to the next thing to pursue will be like certification courses and all that to be
Yeah,
fully certified in their area of expertise.
I think that could also be a contributory factor to the gap because the Gen X may not be so well educated. So Gen X will do a lot of things. They don't mind multitasking and multifunctional. When you put this to a millennial, I think that's where the challenge they tend to be very specialized and they want something which is very straightforward. When it's too all over the place, they find it they're not comfortable with it. They're not very comfortable. It will be a struggle. Whereas the Gen X Jenny will just take on the load. So
Yeah.
yeah, Gen X we are also called the working cows. Okay, so let's go into some case study of some of the clients that come to InTune, some of the challenges that they have, and how did we help them. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
should I bring out the case study?
Yes, please. Okay,
Okay,
so the first case study, this company, they are from the engineering industry. They came to us with 60 over employees. They had a payroll pain. Initially, they had a freelance HR processing their payroll for a few years, and I think she wanted to do something else. So they got the account staff to process the payroll. And the account staff that processed the payroll was not using a system. Uh,
oh dear.
it was quite manually done. If I'm not wrong, it was again using an Excel worksheet. So with 60 over employees, the turnover definitely is also a bit on the high side. So there's employees coming in and out, and then the resigned staff was not tracked properly. So resigned staff was paid for 2 months in a row.
Oh
Of
my
course, the
god.
resigned staff doesn't say anything. So it was only detected when I think one of them did say something like, I have left the company, but I still got my salary. So when that was highlighted, then someone in the company decided to check past month plus current month. So that's when they detected that, gosh, 2 consecutive months resigned staff was also paid.
Oh
So
dear.
that's when they came to Intune and asked to outsource the payroll to us. Yeah.
So how did we resolve some of their pain?
We put them on a payroll system, so we had a workflow in place. We sent a resigned staff list before we even send the payroll report to the boss to approve. So the office manager actually checks all the resigned staff is properly recorded with the correct dates. Then she confirms it with the boss. Then the boss will approve the payroll for us to proceed with payment.
Great.
Yeah,
So I think the point is sometimes it's not just about having the payroll system, it's also having the workflow in place because it is the
correct.
workflow that runs. I think yeah, it's just like people always say hardware is hardware, software is software. It's also the workflow that binds the people and the software and the hardware to be able to run effectively. Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
Okay. Let's go to case study number 2.
yep. So case study number 2, this company is a Labuan Trust company. They have 20 over employees. Uh, the 20 over employees, majority are quite young. So the staff, the company doesn't have HR policies in place, although they have established their business for a few years already. So the staff tend to query on their employment terms, their staff benefits, their job descriptions, and they go to the tax manager because he is the acting HR manager. And imagine he is taken away from his tax work, handling HR work, and handling HR work is also time consuming. And he's not familiar with HR policies. And so he has to take down their queries, check on it, and then revert back to the employee. And being a tax manager, he's also unsure what benefits to offer due to generation gap because he is, I think, in his mid 50s and he's handling millennials. They're in their 20s, first job, fresh graduate, and the new staff don't tend to stay on as well. They because they don't know what is their career path. They don't know what are their benefits, no proper job description. So they are insecure and then they leave the company.
Yeah.
So the poor tax manager has also got to handle the high turnover.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
this is true.
how we solve this was we have done their employee handbook and put in all the benefits in place. Uh, Many things are, like working hours, even the new staff also ask for work from home policy, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think in the absence of a simple thing like an employee handbook, yeah, the benefit tend to be case to case basis. Again, it's always operated from the feeling or the thought basis rather than what is agreed. And when the staff starts to talk to each other, I think that's where the shit hit the fans.
Yes,
Yeah, different people has different entitlement, so it create unnecessary politics. It will make them feel like there is preferential treatment to certain staff versus having a generic policy that as a guidance, and then add on to it if there's a special case. And I think that's where employee handbook is great, to at least cover the staff benefit and the employment terms, like Monday to Friday, when the number of public holiday, because not all company observe all the public holiday, and having that will actually guide them in terms of the staff as well, in terms of planning their leave and knowing uh, know if they are sick, if they are hospitalized, what are the steps they need to do. And I think these are very crucial things. Having an
mm,
employee handbook will also provide them some direction of what the business is and how the business can work together as a team. And it's just a
correct.
simple, yeah, it's just a simple thing. And I think business owner think that it's a simple thing, and often is being neglected. I think the simplest thing is often being neglected, and I think this is where SME business owner, if you're out there and you're listening to this, the simplest thing is what keep the staff happy. It's not the big thing, because everyone will look at the big thing. It is always the small
Actually,
things that really matter.
actually, all the small things added up becomes big issues.
Correct, correct. And I
Yeah.
think that's where some of these issues happen. So after we implemented the handbook, did we get any feedback from the client or from the employer?
They were amazed that we managed to put together the handbook from nothing. Actually, for us, it was based on their employment letters. We took uh, a bit of everything and put it into an handbook. And then, of course, there were blanks also, so we had to do some basic Q&A in order to fill in the blanks. Yeah. So feedback is they were surprised. It was done very fast.
Okay, okay. So it's actually not that difficult to come up with some of these things, and I think it's also doesn't take that long. Maybe it's a 1 month exercise for a basic employment handbook,
Yep.
and it's not even full time, right? Although it's 1 month, it's
No.
like a couple of meeting and
Yeah. I think one physical meeting and even the second meeting didn't happen. It was just phone calls and WhatsApp messages, and then we sent the draft, and that's it.
so there you have it, SME business owner. Sometimes some of your struggle can be solved within a month, and you don't have to make it like a long-term pain. So let's talk about how InTune, how what are some of the services that we have, and how do we support SME for them to become big from Asia point of view.
Yeah. So we have our main one, which is payroll services. That one has been offered for many years already. And now we are venturing into HR outsourcing packages. We have small, medium, and large packages that range from doing HR letters. Okay, payroll system is on the payroll system. So the HR outsourcing also includes a cloud e-leave management system, cloud e-claim system. We also handle group insurance administration. We also handle recruitment.
Wow.
helping SMEs to do recruitment. I think this is quite a big headache. Yeah,
Even for us,
imagine.
even for InTune, yes.
Yeah, because to shortlist the candidates, you have to spend time reading through all the CVs. And then we also introduced onboarding and orientation, because sometimes when a new employee comes on board, uh, SMEs won't know what are the things to onboard a staff. There are things like creating the staff's email, uh, assigning a laptop, getting the access card for the door, or maybe a pin system or thumbprint system, um, letting them know or going through the employee handbook with the staff, orientating them like who to go to for what purpose, going through their job description with them, getting them to familiarize like who is in charge, the organization chart of the company, who is in charge of what.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the business chart, because sometimes a company may have a few businesses, so to expect a staff to know, I think is gonna be impossible. So yeah, it's very important to be able to brief them business wise versus org chart wise, because business could be different. Certain thing in the org
Mhm.
chart could be the same, certain thing could be different, and just to get them to be on board. So hearing from you means we are able to cater uh, a whole range of service for our customer, whether they are
Yes.
small package, medium package, or large package. So
Yeah.
with the package that you mentioned, they are medium package, if I'm not wrong. The one that you said is a medium
Yes.
package.
Yes.
So what will be
There's
in the
also offboarding,
mhm,
meaning conduct exit interviews, coordinate all their handover. Uh, in the medium package, there's also counseling and performance management. That means handling any disciplinary issues, and then also help them to coordinate town hall with all the staff. Yeah.
yeah,
In the large
especially
package, in the large package, we also help to coordinate the performance appraisals at least once a year.
great. So basically, SME business owner, if you're out there listening, we are able to give you a full range of service. Of course, not as high as in the HR team in your office. I always tell SME business owner, you got to imagine in team we are like your HQ HR. And all of you are like our subsidiaries. So there are certain things due to volume, then we are able to provide you the support from HQ. So things like workflows, things like system, imagine if you were just to buy a system, the system alone may cost you, a full HIMS system may cost you 50,000 over a period of 5 years. So with all the subscription in place, so the good thing is when you are coming to Intune, we will bundle in the HR management service, whether you take the small, medium, or large package. And then as you grow, that's where the opportunity is to grow with us. So you can subscribe to more HR hours in terms of your HR requirement. So you are not bounded by a full-time HR manager. So in terms of the support level that Intune offer, of course, we have the HR manager herself. Jocelyn will be the main one. Then we also have seniors, and we will also have HR clerks and payroll clerk as part of the team. So the good news is you don't need to worry if there is any maternity leave as well. There's they go on leave. We always have the backup system, and with our HR management system, which is cloud-based, you can approve leave, you can approve claim depending on the package that you subscribe. And we put in all this to support you to be able to manage your HR resources better.
Yep.
Okay, so if any one of you out there and you wanted to have a HR health check with us, please type in HRHC, or if you want us just to do a payroll health check, you just type HPHC. Usually we charge 500, but if you are getting it from this live, no charge and obligation free, what we'll do is We will set our sales team and our sales, or Jocelyn herself may come in, and we will go through and just scope, like you going for a medical checkup. We will just check the holistic in terms of where are some of the area that you need to be mindful of, where are the possible risk area, and we will give you also area to improve on, and you can then take on from there. So our WhatsApp, you can also get us through 018-373-2199. Just send us a WhatsApp and we'll be more than happy to support you. So we have come to an end, and with that today we have covered quite a fair bit about staff management and some of the pain of SME and how InTune can help you. So, Joe, any closing statement for our viewers before we sign off?
Please do not use Excel to process payroll. It's so much manual work, and even simple thing like EPF, it is not based on you put in a formula of 11%. No, you need to follow the EPF schedule. Cannot put in a formula.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, SME business owner, please no Excel. If your team is using Excel, please come to us. I'll make sure Jocelyn give you an irresistible package. Okay. So with that, we are going to sign off, and we wish all SME business owner having freedom in terms of so that they can focus on their business where it matters. Signing off, InTune.
InTune Outsourcing is providing you a full scope of accounting from A to Z, exactly like an accounting department with a CFO, but not based in your office. InTune enters supplier invoices into accounts payable and do reconciliation with suppliers to make sure that our records are correct. InTune also processes payments to suppliers, staff, and expenses, updating sales invoices into accounts receivable, including collection received, providing statement of accounts to clients so that they can collect and chase money from their customers, providing the financial reports, including but not limited to profit and loss, balance sheets, cash flow, debtors and creditors aging, advisory and financial coaching, including presentation of accounts, highlighting key areas and key analytics to improve and grow clients' businesses. At the year end, we represent our clients to work with their auditors and tax agents for compliance matters. InTune also represent our clients to deal with different bodies and agencies such as Income Tax Office, Customs Department, EPF, SOCSO, and other authorities for matters relating to finance, business, and HR. So if you're still facing accounting problems, you'll need a professional like InTune to help you. Well, get InTune to fine-tune your decision.